What's going on, guys? It's Seth Ward here, and today I am back with yet another college football prediction video. And this time, I'll be talking about one of the most highly anticipated games all season long. Honestly, if you would have told me about this game in the offseason or the summer, I probably would have think you were crazy, because who would have ever thought that the Indiana Hoosiers would be number 5th ranked team in the country? It'll probably change tomorrow maybe or later on today. I don't know how the rankings work throughout the week. I think it's today or then maybe tomorrow. But as of right now, Indiana is ranked 5th in the country. Ohio State is ranked number 2 in the country. So top tier Big Ten matchups right here. Never would have thought in a million years that Indiana would be 10-0. And Coach Cignetti has done a fantastic job with the Hoosiers. And of course, as you guys know, he was with James Madison previously, and that guy can coach. I mean, James Madison almost went undefeated, but they lost to my team, the App State Mountaineers. And I know Ohio State fans know about App State because they beat Michigan back in 2005. So this is going to be a crazy game, in my opinion. It's going to be on November 23rd of 2024, which is next week. Crazy that Thanksgiving is 1 week away after this week. It's just wild to me that November is slowly dwindling down into December of this year. So it's going to be a interesting matchup for Saturday. Location will be at the Ohio Stadium at 12 p.m. on Fox Network. And I'm assuming that Gus Johnson and Joel Klatt may be announcing that game. I think they do Fox Sports. I can't remember. They do Fox Sports. But they also do Pac-12. I think they do Big 12 too. So I can't remember which games they announce. But I like listening to Gus Johnson and Joel Klatt whenever they are announcing games for that. So location, like I said, Ohio Stadium, 12 p.m. on Fox. All right, so the last meeting was kind of crazy because these two played the first game last year on September 2nd of 2023. Ohio State won 23-3, so it really wasn't a game. Maybe a low-scoring game, and Ohio State pretty much handed it to them last year with Kyle McCord as the quarterback for last year. And now he's with Syracuse. And it was kind of crazy that they played the first game of the season. Usually conference games will be like the third game of the year after the two or three non-conference games for Ohio State or Indiana. All right, so there you have it, the last meeting that these two teams played. And of course, next up, we got a previous game, Ohio State with a nice solid win against Northwestern to move them to 9-1, and they won 31-7. Indiana had a bye this past week, so they played Michigan. Almost lost to Michigan. It was a tough game. I think it was at Michigan. So it was 22-15. So that was a interesting game. That was it was kind of a low scoring game, and of course Indiana at the end there pretty much sealed the deal to make it 20-15. And of course Michigan just could not do anything that much on offense also. All right, so match predictor, we have Ohio State with a whopping 73.1% over Indiana, which is 26.9% because it's at Ohio State and Ohio Stadium. So that's a tough atmosphere to play in. That's going to be Indiana's first true, in my opinion, test against a top-tier team. So a lot of people are pretty much shading Indiana because they haven't really had a tough schedule, almost like Ohio State, which Ohio State played, They played Oregon, and Oregon almost lost to Wisconsin last night, which that was kind of crazy because they barely pulled it out in that one last night. All right, so the top 3 players of the week, we have quarterback, running back, wide receivers, and then the top 3 players on defense. This is from Michigan, as you guys can see on the little top left corner right there. All right, we got Curtis Wart. He went 17 for 28 completions to attempts with 206 passing yards, averaged about 7.4 per throw, had 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. So not all that bad last week against Michigan. And, of course, running back Tyson Lawton. He had 12 carries, 55 rushing yards, averaged about 4.6 per carry, and had 0 touchdowns for rushing. And, of course, we have Keyshawn Williams. He had 6 receptions, 70 receiving yards, 11.7 per catch. And, of course, he had 0 touchdowns. And the only 2 touchdowns in the receiving game was wide receiver Omar Cooper with 1 touchdown, and of course Elijah Surratt with 1 touchdown as well. All right, so this was against Northwestern from Ohio State. We got Will Howard. He had a solid day with 15 completions to 24 attempts with 247 passing yards, averaged about 10.3 per pass, and had 2 touchdowns and 0 interceptions, so solid day from him. And of course, running back Quinshawn Judkins, he had a solid day as well with 15 carries, 76 yards, averaged about 5.1 per carry, and had 2 touchdowns in the running game. So he had a solid day for him. We got wide receiver Jeremiah Smith with 4 receptions, 100 receiving yards, averaged about 25.0, had 0 touchdowns, and of course the only 2 receiving touchdowns that was next was wide receiver Carnell Tate with 2 TDs. All right, so top 3 players of the week on defense. We have linebacker Aiden Fisher had a solid day with 14 total tackles and 3 solo. Defensive lineman CJ West had an also solid day versus Michigan last week. He had 9 total tackles, 4 solo, 1 TFL, and 1 pass deflection. And of course, we have linebacker, lastly, Jalen Walker had also a solid day against Michigan. 7 total tackles, 2 solo, 1 TFL, which is tackle for loss, and 1 pass deflection as well. All right, so top 3 players on defense for Ohio State. We have defensive edge rusher Jack Sawyer, had 7 total tackles, had 2 solo. And then we have linebacker Arvell Reese. He had a solid day with 7 total tackles, 2 solo, 0.1, 0.5 sacks, and of course 0.5 TFLs. I guess that's like a half sack where like he assisted a tackle, but then it was a sack, and then the TFL as well. So I don't know why they can just give the one sack. It's just me being dyslexic with like half numbers. All right, so we got safety Sony Styles. He had a great day yesterday with 6 total tackles, 5 solo, 2 sacks, 2 TFLs, and 2 pass deflections. So he had a solid day yesterday for Ohio State. All right, so here you go with the full team stats. If you want to pause the video, you can as well. Indiana only held Michigan to 206 yards, really solid on their defense, but they only had 246 yards, so they kind of struggled against Michigan. They had an okay defense for Michigan. Passing yards allowed, Indiana only allowed 137 passing yards, which is really solid, though Michigan still struggles with the QB position. They basically filtered through like 3 quarterbacks this year, and but not giving any discredit towards Indiana. They still have a solid defense, in my opinion. Rushing yards, they only allowed less than 100 rushing yards, which is 69. Pretty good. Though they only had 40 rushing yards. Ew, that's not good. They did have Michigan allowing 33 minutes total in the game, so that's a little concerning for Indiana on defense. But let's go ahead and go to Ohio State. Ohio State only allowed 251 total yards overall, which is really solid. Passing, not bad. Only allowed 201 passing yards, so that's pretty good in my opinion. Well, yeah, it's really solid. Let's get rushing yards. They only allowed 50 rushing yards, which is really solid in my opinion as well. They only allowed Northwestern to have 32 minutes possession, but I guess that's because they were on the offense majority of the time because their defense will get blown out by Ohio State, so because they lost 31-7. All right, so lastly, my final prediction. I think people will know where this may be going. Those who don't, those who do. But I think, in my opinion, that the Ohio State Buckeyes will beat Indiana by -6 points as the favorite to beat the Hoosiers. I know that a lot of people will probably be mad about this video. This is no favoritism towards Ohio State. I dislike Ohio State, but until Indiana actually shows that they are the real deal, and if they beat Ohio State at Ohio State, then they're the real deal. Like, Indiana is Indiana, and they're good. They're here to stay. And with Coach Signetti, he's actually done a fantastic job with Indiana. And so, yeah, let me know what you guys think. I think Ohio State will probably beat Indiana. The refs also probably have something with that as well with Ohio State. You know how it goes at the Ohio Stadium. No shade towards Ohio State. So, yeah, I think Ohio State will win by -6 points. I know I'll probably get a little bit of criticism in this video. It is what it is. Let me know what you guys think. Comment down below, and see y'all next time. Peace.